You're going to sit on something that's comfortable, and you're going to come to a cross-legged seat to start. And I have my little setup, so if you haven't, if you already know where you're going to go, you have your little stuff set up, great, you can do that ahead of time. You can also set it up once we get to that part. It's always nice to have lots of pillows and blankets around so that you're comfortable. And we just take a moment to ground. And enter into this present moment. The longer that I practice, there's I don't ever want to say things as in always, but I seem to realize the simpler that the practices become. And even in that simpleness, that there is vast complexity. Can we be with just this present moment, your inhale, your exhale, your body as it is right now, today. And you notice how you feel emotionally, mentally. The next breath or so, you let the eyes gently open. And we're going to start with the neck. So you're going to bend the neck laterally with the left ear moving towards the left shoulder. And for some of us, this is going to already have a pretty high sensation. If you have a little bit more space, you might reach that right arm out to the side. And so here what we're looking for is to just stay with the stretch sensation. So notice it's kind of like epicenter of stretch sensation at the side of the neck, maybe potentially for you. And then can you explore moving from that kind of more potent stretch sensation to where else it leads in the body? Can you feel this radiate down to that right thumb? Can you feel this on the back side of the crown chakra? And then slowly we'll let the gaze come towards the earth. We'll lift the head on up, and then we'll try the other side. So taking the ear to the right shoulder. Again, this might be enough for some of us. And if it's already pretty high stretch sensation, you just stay like this. If you got a little bit more, you might reach that left hand out. So we're training our ability to stay with the felt sense experience. The reason we do this as intuitive healers is because we use that felt sense experience, that ability to feel, as our guide to healing. So from the epicenter to where it ripples outward, where do you feel this in your body? Can you approach looking at the feeling from a wide lens versus a manic searching? And then as you're ready, gaze comes to the earth, release the hand, and then lift the head. And then we'll inhale, we'll take the right arm up and we'll side bend over towards the left side. So we're coming into a bit more of the side body, and you have some action, attention, efforting through that right arm. Feel the stretch through fingertips all the way down to the hip. The kind of epicenter of the stretch might be in different parts for different people. On the left side waist, allow that to soften into the body and expand on the ribs, both vertical direct towards the hand and towards the hips. Can you feel this in the low belly? How does this relate to your right ear, to your third eye? What happens when you soften the third eye? And we come up and take the other side, stretching towards the right. And that right side waist, soften it towards the navel. On the left side body, on the ribs, we go up towards the hand, down towards the waist. Can you widen the space inside the ears? What happens to the shape when you do that? And come on up. We'll take our twist. So you're going to twist to the right, coming your left hand onto the knee. Actually, let's do it this way. Take that right foot up and across, and then the left foot is tucked under, and then left hand comes to the top of the knee. Some people might cross the arm over, otherwise hugging the knee here. And then the right hand's just behind. Come into the pelvis, widen and broaden. Take your awareness at the navel center, so right at the belly button. Can I imagine that from the belly button on my front side body, I rotate to the right. It travels across my back body, around and back to the navel on the left side. How is this twist translated into your right big toe? Bringing your awareness there, what happens if you can soften all the way around the ball of the foot? Come on out. We switch sides. And softening through the pelvis, twisting at the navel center. Hand can be on the knee or the arm might cross over. From the belly button on the front side, I release to the left, across the stomach to the side waist, from left side, left back, all the way around to right, to wrap back around to the navel. How is this felt on the left outer knee. Bringing all my awareness there. You soften and release through the knee, horizontally across the space of the knee. What happens to my shape? Maybe nothing happens, but what happens in the knee? You release that. And the last place we'll look is our hips. So taking your right foot in front of the left. So not tucking the legs under, but having one in front of the other. And then you take your hands to the tops of the knees. The elbows can kind of point out to the sides, and you start to lean forward until you feel your first place of stretch sensation through the gluteal tissues. And then pause there. Soften through the front hip creases, widen through the back side of the seat. And then maybe the hands might come to the earth. I like to have my hands on the earth and my elbows still on my knees. And then once you're kind of at the place where motion slows, where is this, the epicenter of the stretch being potentially into the gluteal area, particularly on the right side? Where else can you trace that out? And then choose a place in your body. And it can be anywhere, like your left knuckle or your right ear. And bring your awareness there, whatever you're choosing. So this is your own personal experiment. Bring your awareness there, and like you could insert a texture like a fluffy, like the fluffiest cloud, that it starts to expand and widen. And what happens to the shape as we get fluffier and wider within any particular place in the body? How do the two areas relate to each other? And then as you're ready, we come up and we switch sides. The two sides can be different, so just being mindful of that. The hands start on the knees, the elbows point out wide. Start to come in till you feel your first sense of stretch sensation. Pause, it might stay there. You can work the shape like that with the hands on the knees, or if it's comfortable, you can bring the hands to the earth. I like to rest the elbows still on top of my knees. Soften in through hip creases, widen out to the back side of the seat. You might fold a little bit more. And then again, notice the epicenter, potentially through that left glute, potentially into the back side of the seat, maybe low back, maybe some of the inner thighs. It's okay for it to be a different place than I'm listing, where you feel it. And then trace that to another place in your body. Then on this side, you want to play with allowing that new place to become fluffified. How does that impact the whole? How does the fluffifying of one place fluffify other places? And then we release. You can shake the legs out. I'm going to come on down onto our backs. I'm going to set up for our meditation practice. So making sure that you're comfortable. So grabbing all the things that you need in order to be able to lay down for a few good moments. Okay. And I always like to have a couple of blankets or pillows or something that you can use for underneath your arms. To start though, we'll rest the hands on the belly. And we come back to kind of how we started, just simply being with the body and where it's at and the breath and where you're at emotionally, mentally, physically in this moment. And you feel the inhale, the body presses into the hands. The exhale, it falls back again. So just using this as a moment to kind of soften any held places, making sure that you're comfortable, adjusting anything that needs to. And then coming into the body with a state of listening. And so much like we did with stretch sensation, we can listen to subtle sensation. In a similar way, there can be kind of focal points. There can be rippling out, and there can be connection between places. Ultimately, all things are connected. And so we start in the bridge with our breath, the breath being this kind of bridge between the physical stretch and the subtle prana energy. You notice how it presses into the hands, right? So that physical movement. Can you start to go beyond the physical movement of the ribs and the hands moving to feel the movement of the diaphragm and the lungs? So moving more internally into the internal spaces of the body. Can you hold your awareness there, feeling those things move? And you don't lose contact with the hands. You want to be able to still feel the hands against the body and feel the internal movement. So again, training ourselves to be able to have wider perception. And then maybe even subtler still. Can you feel the air itself? Moving inside the lungs, its response in the rest of the body, and notice how those things are connected. And the air moving in, the lungs and the diaphragm, to the ribs, to the hands. And then maybe wider still. You feel all those things, and where does it ripple out to? When you inhale, what other part of your body inhales? Can you feel the inhale in your pelvic floor? In your throat? In the top of the head? The bottoms of the feet? All without losing contact with the hands. And then from here, this relaxed, open, and wide space, both with your witnessing and your inner felt sense experience, but also by listening with your hands. Notice any place of potency, kind of fulcrum or epicenter of attention. It will feel like magnetism, or like there's almost like a pull or a drawing towards it. And so before you bring your hands to it, I want you, if you find it first with your mind, and I'll give you time to do this, so I'm just going to explain it first. But I want you to be able to sense in the feeling, the physical feeling under the hands, and see if you can sense into the magnetism, the drawing, the sensations that live underneath the hands that pull you to that place. So to not do it simply with the mind, but to go back to the body and go back to moving from feeling. So we'll spend a few moments on that step. It's wide open view of the body. You might notice a place that seems to call to you. And then instead of just having the mind be the only place that traces that feels that draw, the mind is this wonderful tool to be able to use, but it is not the only tool that you have. Once you've chosen a place or been drawn to a place, you notice it. Go to your hands, and can your hands, just where they are, can they feel that place? Can you stretch your felt sense awareness to be able to connect the hands to that place before they've even gotten there? And it's okay if this part is challenging or hard to feel. That's why we are working with more concrete stretch sensation first. And that this is kind of a more continuing level skill set. And once you, if you have made contact with the sensations from your hands, I want you to move with the hands being the guide in its movement. So instead of just placing the hands on that spot, can the hands be led through feeling? Follow the ripple, follow the tether that is connected from that place to your hands, and let them move slow and create, contain, or maintain their connection to that place. And if you lose it, you pause, come back into the sensations of the hand, come back to that place with your mind, feel the connection between the two of them, and then move forward. So taking a few moments in this step. And sometimes when we catch, it's almost like catching a wave, and it can move, the hands want to move in a particular kind of motion, and just allowing them to do that. And then as you're ready, the next place is to place your hands on that place you've chosen on your body, the one that called you in. And then we will be with that place. So part of this training, part of this kind of work here of being able to feel when we're not on the spot is so that you can know that you can work on a place even if your hand's not touching that place. It's how we can work on our feet even if our hands aren't on there. So to stick with today's intention, we are going to practice being with this place. Even though, you might have some desire to create resolution, or maybe not resolution, there might be motive. Just noting if there's motive within you. No shame attached, just noting. And try and let go of that motive and simply be with the space in your body
that's underneath your hands. So like we did with the breath, you might start by just noticing the hands on this place, the texture of the skin or clothing or blanket. You might notice from the body the weight of the hands. Can you go underneath the hands, underneath the surface of the skin? Can you feel in the space between your hands and where the earth is, or the bed that you're laying on, or the prop that you're rested on? So the earth kind of playing the role of a second hand or third hand. And we are seeing if we can be with the space between the earth and our hands in this spot in your body. Don't make a story. Soften the motive. Simply be with. And you might notice that as you are with it, that your body, in the act of being with it, that it relaxes its motives. The mind lets go. That you're able to really soften into rest. In these next few breaths, gathering your awareness back into your hands. We call on the energy of the divine channel, calling in any healing guides that we work with, feeling them move in through the heart and out into the hands. And as you're ready, feeling that healing divine light, iridescent light energy move out of the hands and saturate this area as if it could enter every single one of the molecules, like we did in our stretch sequence, just like fluffifying this time with this like beautiful, infinite capacity, healing light. Moving from the hands through the entire depth of the body, all the way till it meets the backside on the support of the earth underneath you. And then in the next breath or so, as you're ready, you'll eventually release the hands from that place. And we'll do a little sweep of our aura before we rest for a moment. So you start at the crowns above the head and calling in that same infinite capacity, supported, divinely supported energy. Just kind of sweep around the head as if you're kind of clearing out. You might kind of have some little exhales as you do that. And gently brushing it off. And then we do the same thing at the third eye. Across the face and down towards the throat. Kind of brushing, sweeping it off. It doesn't matter whether you touch the body or you have it hovered above the body, both are fine. Whatever feels more comfortable and nourishing to you is fine. Sometimes it feels like you got to go back over an area, and it's okay. Just trusting that intuition. Big long exhales, sweeping at the heart. And the solar plexus. The sacral area. And then across the upper legs and root chakra. And then just a few breaths, just kind of washing the whole area, moving from crown down to the feet. And each time you move the hands down across the front of the body, exhaling down. And any last little places that intuitively need a little bit more. And then as you're ready, letting the hands release out to the sides with the palms facing up. Resting back for a few breaths in this state of open receptivity. And here you can even send out the invitation to that divine connection with the body, and you are listening. I am receptive to your wisdom. I invite you to help support and bless my work, my healing. Naming any specific guides that you work with. Just letting them know that you're open to their insight and support. And then we'll rest here together for a few moments, and eventually I'll get up and turn the video off. But you are invited to stay for as long as you'd like. And so if you're ready to come up, you're more than welcome to start to deepen the breath. If you'd prefer to stay here longer, if there's things that you're resting into or things that are coming up, feel free to end the meeting or end the video. Continue to do whatever you need to do that is most nourishing for you. Because if you're ready, there's a little bit of movement through the body, wiggling the fingers and toes. Eventually that movement gets a little bit bigger and brings you to your side body, and you can pause and rest there. And then if you're coming on up to a seat, you slowly press down and push yourself on up to a seat. And the hands to the heart, bow the head on in. Mm.
May you be receptive to the stillness, expansive vastness that is within you, infinitely capable. May you be receptive to grace. Namaste. Thanks, Bears. Love you so much. Have a beautiful rest of your day. See you later. Let me know if you need anything.